Now, your first forecast, sponsored by Whitehead Plumbing and Air Conditioning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for waking up with us on this Wednesday morning. A lot to talk about the next few days. Honestly, the main point is it's just going to be hot and very humid as we head towards the weekend. But getting your morning started on this Wednesday, another very foggy start to the morning. Surprisingly, the National Weather Service has not put out a dense fog advisory, but let me tell you, the fog is there, so give yourself an extra minute or two. But those clouds moved in from late last night and sticking with us this morning, so we are nearly 10 degrees above normal. Leave the jackets behind, and we are going to be warming up in a big way. We'll talk about that coming up in your full forecast.
Hey, thanks for joining us for News 13 this morning. I'm Chris Marchand.
And I'm Kelsey Peck. Great to have you waking up with us on this Wednesday. Your local election headquarters. Let's get to those results.
That's right. Municipal elections don't have a large city turnout here in Bay County, but some heated issues and races brought the voters out to the polls in Panama City.
They decided 3 offices and gave their opinion on a number of controversial topics. Let's start with the first race, the Panama City mayor's office. Retired surgeon Michael Doc Rohan was trying to win his second 2-year term. He faced challenger Alan Branch, a former tech entrepreneur turned developer. It's not even close. Branch wins the race, walking away. He received 69% of the vote to Rohan's 31%. So Branch will be Panama City's mayor for the next 2 years. News 13's Maggie McQuiggan followed both candidates and tells us more about the highs and lows that drove voters' decision.
Rowan's term has been filled with highs and lows. He was successful in getting the controversial fire assessment reduced. He's also an adamant opponent of the Beach Drive pathway, but he got into hot water for allegedly trying to pass off fake paperwork on the Beach Drive pathway project. And there was a sexual harassment complaint filed by a city employee. Both issues went to the Ethics Commission, which found probable cause, but the governor's office never took action. He's also been dogged by accusations that he's racially insensitive. None of that matters last night. Voters decided Doc Rowan's time at City Hall is over. But across town at the Sapp House, it was an entirely different story. Alan Branch and dozens of his friends, family, and downtown business owners celebrated his victory. He will be the new mayor of Panama City. Branch is heavily invested in downtown Panama City and has been a proponent of its revitalization. But he's also critical of what he has called bureaucracy and red tape at City Hall. He says his main focus when he takes office is creating more transparency with residents.
So citizens want to know when the infrastructure is being fixed in their neighborhoods, how are your tax dollars being spent, so how can we better communicate with citizens so they trust the government more? If there's not enough communication, if there's a lack of communication, there's no trust.
Branch previously mentioned rolling out short clips on social media to make information more accessible to residents.
Well, Maggie mentioned the Beach Drive pathway project. That's become one of the biggest issues in the Panama City races. Voters got the chance to give their opinion in the non-binding referendum. And as you see there, the vote was 53% for and 47% against. Now, this project came about a number of years ago. The Florida Department of Transportation gave the city an $8 million appropriation to build the 1.5-mile pathway along St. Andrew Bay, adjacent to Beach Drive. It would include all new stormwater drainage infrastructure, landscaping, and a number of upgrades. The majority of commissioners have supported the project in the past, but many Beach Drive residents are against the project. Remember, this is non-binding, so commissioners will have the final say.
One of the incumbent commissioners who has been a leading advocate for the pathway project is Ward 4 Commissioner Josh Street, who represents St. Andrews. Street was up for re-election. He received a challenge from political newcomer Demetrius Reese. Reese moved to the area around 2 years ago. And as you can see, Reese received 30%. Street got 70%. Josh Street will serve another term as the Ward 4 Commissioner. News 13's Amy Diaz got a chance to speak with Josh Street and tell us not only about his commitment to the Beach Drive Pathway Project, but the infrastructure throughout all of Panama City.
Josh Street didn't just commit to the pathway project, but he says he commits to continuing to improve infrastructure throughout all of Panama City. Street has been very vocal about his support for the Beach Drive project, a contrast to his opponent Demetrius Reese, who called the current administration's work a backwards approach. Street says his district was in full support for the path, piggybacking off one of the biggest issues he campaigned on, fixing infrastructure issues.
I think we've got a lot of construction that's going on in our city, and so it's a lot of patience that residents are having to exercise, but on the other side of this, it means rebuilt infrastructure, it means a bright future for all of us and for future generations, because it's not just about us, it's also about our kids and our grandkids. I think this go around, we're going to be really focused on road paving, balancing budgets. We're going to be doing the meat and potatoes of what it takes to do good government.
Street says another 4 years will allow him to continue current projects like repurposing the St. Andrews School while tackling key issues like city reserve funding and not raising taxes for residents.
Well, no matter who won the race for the Ward 1 seat, it was going to be a new face. Incumbent Commissioner Jenna Halligas decided against running for re-election. 3 candidates jumped into the race: Robbie Hughes, Daniel Robert Schultz, and Ed Young. Based on campaign signs, Young had the support of the Beach Drive residents. Hughes had the strong support in the Cove, and Hughes came out on top with 46% of the vote. Schultz had 28%, Young with 26%. Since no one received at least 50% plus 1 vote, this one is headed to a runoff between Hughes and Schultz. News 13's Grace Velez tells us that though Election Day has brought a roller coaster of emotions, all candidates are ready for another round of campaigning.
You bet they are. I spoke with both Schultz and Hughes last night. As you can imagine, Election Day has brought a roller coaster of emotions for both candidates. The Ward 1 race had the highest early voting turnout and kept both candidates on their toes until just after 7 p.m. Tuesday night. Gearing up for a runoff and some good old-fashioned knocking on doors will be in Daniel Schultz and Robbie Hughes' future. Both candidates said they were prepared for the reality of a runoff, especially with the amount of hot-button topics for Panama City residents unfolding in Ward 1. They are reflecting on the campaigning strategies and support that got them to that top 2 spot.
Mine is the marina. I want to make sure that everybody knows that the water, which is behind us, that's my peace and serenity, and I think that's why people come to Panama City. And so at the outset, we want to make sure that we get it up and running. Most importantly, that the citizens have access to all the water, boat ramp included. And secondly, let's worry about the Beach Drive path later, but let's also work on infrastructure. But if we can continue to move forward, we've got a good platform. Yes, there's some mistakes made. We don't have a book to come out of a Category 5 hurricane.
Hughes thanked the employees at City Hall and every single voter who he hopes will come out again. Hughes also called the results a win for Daniel Schultz, the 21-year-old candidate who ran a grassroots campaign. Schultz was fashionably late to his own watch party at Millie's because he was waving to voters at the polls until they closed. Schultz says words can't describe how he's feeling, but he gave it a shot anyways.
I certainly would say tonight is a success. The support has been from people who were willing to take a chance, were willing to take a chance on a young man who just wanted to do something better for his area. I'm so incredibly proud. You know, this has been grassroots all the way, and let it be known that this is proof that grassroots works. It is a force to be reckoned with, and we are a force to be reckoned with. When the people stand up to do what they set out to do, there's nothing we cannot achieve.
Schultz prioritized reopening the marina and protecting its T-dock, as well as minimizing outsourcing and removing the fire assessment tax during his campaign. The runoff will take place May 20th. Both Schultz and Hughes say increasing voter turnout has been a priority for them in this race and will continue to be until it's over. Schultz received an encouraging message from Ed Young yesterday evening after the results were in. I reached out to Ed Young several times and never heard back.
Lynn Haven also had 2 important races on the ballot. The outcome could flip the balance of power on that commission. In the seat 4 race, incumbent Judy Vandergrift chose not to run for re-election. Jamie Marler, Jeff Snyder, and former Commissioner Judy Tinder all jumped into the race. And here's the results. Tinder, we've got the wrong results for you there on the screen. Jamie Marler, Jeff Snyder, and former Commissioner Judy Tinder all jumped into the race. I'm sorry about that. Those are the right results. I apologize. Tinder received 49% of the votes. Snyder got 28%, and Marler picked up 23%. So Tinder and Snyder are headed to a runoff election to determine who will be commissioner for seat 4. News 13's Heather Badley was following the race and tells us that Tinder needed just 1% more to secure Lynn Haven Commission seat 4. But now she'll compete with Snyder for the seat on May 20th.
Tinder needed just 1% more votes to secure Lynn Haven Commission seat 3. Now Snyder and Tinder will go head-to-head for the seat on May 20th. Tinder serves as the seat 4 commissioner from 2017 to 2023 with the goal of assisting residents while facilitating their needs in the city. She spent the evening at her restaurant Victoria's Last Bite, and she says assisting seniors is a priority if elected. Jeff Snyder skipped an election party to watch his son play baseball. He says he would be grateful to serve the city and prove that he's the right one for the job. Jamie Marler and his supporters joined Lynn Haven Seat 3 candidate Johnny Brashears at Diego's Burrito Factory, and he says while he doesn't agree with the results, he will continue to serve the people of Lynn Haven at any capacity.
You know, I'm of the mindset that the people have spoken and that's what they want, and if that's what they want, I'm okay with that. Yep, it's disappointing, but you know, at the end of the day, we have to move forward together anyway as a collective.
Then we'll buckle down. We got 4 more weeks, and we'll just kind of put the pedal to the metal and see if we can sprint all the way through. My goal, if elected, is to just be a sounding board, be a listener more than a talker, and make sure that the people, whether they supported me or not, know that I'm going to be working for them.
Yeah, I don't mind a runoff at all. I would like to see certain things implemented, like I have really reached out to the seniors. And I would love to see a citizen hotline set up in Lynn Haven.
The other race saw Lynn Haven native Johnny Brashears challenging incumbent Jamie Warwick for the Ward 3 seat. And we don't have any changes in that seat. Warwick received 62% of the votes to Brashears' 38%. This was Brashears' first experience as a political candidate. He and his followers gathered at Diego's Burrito Factory to await the election results. Although he did not come out on top, Brashears says he looks forward to working with Lynn Haven on future projects that could help the city move forward in a positive light.
You know, I really did expect to win this, but that's okay. The voters have spoken, and that's where we're at. I get to go fishing again. I'm retired. I hadn't fished for a couple months because of this campaign. This is my first time in, and I enjoyed it. I loved meeting all the people. I loved the process.
Brashears says he's looking forward to the opportunity potentially running again in future elections.
All right, kind of spooky looking outside, especially downtown Panama City. Well, now it's completely covered, but
yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, even some of those traffic cameras behind you, Amelia, I mean, that fog looking pretty thick.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really surprised the National Weather Service has not put out a dense fog advisory. We have the calm wind speeds and we have a lot of moisture out there, so that's what's keeping the fog around for the next few hours. I'm thinking once we get that natural sunshine, that will slowly start to dissipate. So just a couple hours where we're dealing with the fog. So if you're about to head out for your early morning commute within the next hour or so, give yourself an extra minute, maybe an extra 2 minutes, and use those low beams, okay? That fog is definitely thickening up in some areas. Not going anywhere anytime soon. As you can see, it's even worsening. In the last 30 minutes, we had about 2 miles of visibility in Defuniak Springs and Mariana, down to less than a mile in Mariana, Panama City, and Defuniak Springs. So be careful out there. Now, I was hoping we were going to get a little bit more in the way of precipitation today, but looks like Walton may just get a quick little shower from this system, this stalled stationary boundary just to our north. We have this upper level ridge set up and it's blocking any of that from coming into the panhandle. So yet again, another very dry day. The moisture's there, but not looking at anything in the way of precipitation. Guys.
All right, thanks so much, Amelia. Well, this morning, pre-orders for a highly anticipated gaming system are going to be available. Here's ABC's Rhiannon Alley with your Tech Bites.
In today's Tech Bites, the moment gamers have been waiting for is almost here. Pre-orders for the Nintendo Switch 2 begins at midnight for customers in the U.S. and Canada. The Switch 2 console is selling for $450 despite the tariffs, but the company says it will adjust prices for the accessories. A new study finds teens who went to bed earlier and slept longer scored better on cognitive tests than their peers who got less sleep. Researchers recommend people ditch their phones and computers late in the evening to boost mental skills. Finally, collectors are paying top dollar for old retro tech phones. They say old Nokia models in good condition are going for up to $300. The most in demand are devices from the pre-smartphone era. Their value increases if you have the original packaging. I know I still have some of my old phones. Those are your Tech Bites. I'm Rhiannon Alley. Have a great day.
Good morning. Happy Wednesday. For those of you just tuning in with us, 16 minutes past the hour now and getting your morning started by taking a look at some current conditions. Another morning where we should be starting out into the mid-50s, but we are into the 60s. Lots of fog out there. The moisture is there. You might notice that buildup on your windshields. Your vehicles might be a little bit damp for those who leave your vehicles outdoors. So keep that in mind. But you know what? We're going to see a lot of sunshine and a lot of warmth today.
All right. Lots of sunshine. Like the sounds of that.
Yeah, me too. All right, on our question of the day, this one stems from just a texting conversation I had last night, and I thought, you know what, that'd be a good question to throw at our viewers. So we're asking you this
So it was
question.
from experience.
It kind of was, but
Okay.
we've run into this before.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I wish we had time for that story, but
Right.
we don't. Here's the question this morning. What's one of the biggest issues with texting?
Yeah, so for me, I think it's, you just don't know. When someone texts the word sure can be sure, or it could be, hey, sure.
Yeah.
So you just don't know the emotion
Or is
behind
it sure?
You're right. You don't know the emotion
That's
behind it.
that's so true, Chris.
So there's certain words you just should not text.
Okay, and I think I'm kind of on the long lines with that. It's just in general texting. I mean, obviously we all do it. You just never know the full tone, right?
Right.
I mean, you
Right.
think you do.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I think I'm on the same page with folks. But sometimes I think things get misconstrued because
Yeah, you can
it's just
overthink
text.
things. And
Yep.
my biggest thing is when someone texts me K.
Yes.
That's a fighting word.
I know.
This
That is
guy
a
right here
fighting
does it
word.
all the time.
Oh, it irks me. I'm like, oh, don't
does do
K
that.
me.
When
all
I'm
right?
busy playing Fortnite and you're texting me, I'm gonna go, okay, and then I'm back to the game.
All right, Chris, I'm coming to fight you, man.
All right, we're looking forward to hearing your answers. So head to our Facebook page and we'll read those in our next hour.
Bay County is giving its residents a chance to get some of their spring cleaning done a little early this year. Coming up, we'll tell you all about Spring Waste Amnesty Days. It's taking place right here in the county later this weekend. You'll get all those details in just a few minutes.
Let me see my new granddog.
Say hi, Grandma.
You're feeding him Blue Buffalo, right?
No, we got Purina One. It's all the same stuff.
Not really. Blue Life Protection Formula's got deboned chicken, chicken meal, brown rice, oatmeal, barley.
Well, Purina One has chicken, rice flour, corn gluten meal, whole grain corn, chicken byproduct meal. Looks like we're switching to Blue.
Switch to Blue and feed your dog like family.
Upset stomach? Iberogast. Indigestion? Iberogast. Bloating? Iberogast. Thanks to a unique combination of herbs, Iberogast helps relieve 6 digestive symptoms to help you feel better. 6 digestive symptoms, the power of nature. Iberogast.
Can a can of Lysol take care of my snotty sofa?
Can do.
Mildewy tiles?
Can do.
These?
Yep, it's the Can Do can. Nothing kills more germs on more surfaces than Lysol disinfectant spray. Lysol, what it takes to protect.
This is News 13 This Morning with Kelsey Peck, Chris Marchand, and 13 First Alert meteorologist Amelia Henderson.
Well, Lynnhaven voters had 3 non-binding referendums to decide.
Yeah, 2 of them had to do with creating a public library. The Lynnhaven Library used to be located at the corner of 9th Street and Highway 77, right across the street from City Hall, but it was destroyed by Hurricane Michael in 2018. City officials have been torn over replacing it or coming up with an alternative, so they wanted to get residents' opinions. The first question asked voters if they want to raise taxes to build a new 4,000 square foot library at an estimated cost of about $1.9 million. Then there's costs to operate and maintain the library thereafter, which would cost an estimated $320,000 annually. And as you can see, voters overwhelmingly said no by a 60% margin. The vote was 80% to 20%.
But they're all right with the city entering into a partnership with the Northwest Regional Library System to establish a satellite branch in an existing city-owned building like the Senior Center. City officials say this would be a less expensive solution. Voters agreed 66% to 34%.
They also said they don't think city officials need to create a city zoning map. The city currently does not have a zoning map, opting to manage growth through the city's comprehensive plan. A zoning map would create a list of permissible uses on each city parcel, but the cost could be significant. Voters said whether it's worth or not worth it, that cost, they voted 55% to 45% against the zoning map. Again, all 3 of these referendums are non-binding. They're just a way for city officials to gauge residents' opinions.
Now, meteorologist Amelia Henderson with your First Alert forecast.
Good morning, 22 minutes past the hour. We're taking a look at the satellite and radar. Now, we do have this upper level ridge that's blocking this stationary front from bringing any precipitation into our area. Maybe an isolated shower affecting maybe 20%. I'm thinking Walton County, you're going to get a quick shower this afternoon. The rest of us, we are going to be staying dry because of how strong that ridge really is. So the clouds are still with us early this morning, but they will be kind of coming in and out throughout the day today. But thankfully, that severe risk because of that ridge is blocking any of this severe risk from coming into our area. It's closer towards Jackson Jacksonville and up into Georgia. So that is a marginal risk, a 1 out of 5 chances for severe weather. So if you're headed in that direction, prepare for that later this afternoon. Now, temperature-wise, getting your morning started, we should be starting out into the 50s, the mid-50s that is, and we're starting out into the 60s across all areas. And still a very foggy start to the morning, mainly because that moisture is building up, as well as the fact that the winds are nice and quiet early this morning and going to stay that way all day long. And here in a little bit, we're going to talk about when we could potentially finally see some rainfall. We desperately need it across the Panhandle.
All right, thanks so much, Amelia. Well, a biannual tradition that gives Bay County residents the chance to do some spring cleaning is returning yet again later this weekend.
News 13, Ethan Logue live at the Steelfield Road landfill, joining us live now with all the details on the Spring Waste Amnesty Days. Good morning, Ethan.
Hey, good morning, guys. Happy Wednesday morning to you. That's right, we're here talking all about Spring Waste Amnesty Days right here in Bay County, returning beginning on Friday, So we're going to jump right in. I'm joined by Corey Parsons, representing solid waste with Bay County. So, Corey, to start off, we'll start off nice and simple. When are specifically Spring Waste Amnesty Days this year?
It's this Friday and Saturday, 25th and 26th.
All right, this Friday and Saturday right here, of course, only at the Steelfield landfill, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And now when people come on out, when should they stop by, drop off anything they may need to?
Anytime between 7 and 4:30. Just make sure you bring an ID to prove residency or a utility bill.
And now what are some of the items that can and cannot be dropped off here at the landfill?
You can almost bring anything to the landfill that you can generate from your household. The only thing you can't dispose actually into the landfill are hazardous waste.
Okay, no, as long as hazardous waste. And what are some of those hazardous waste materials that they can't drop off?
You cannot drop the batteries, light bulbs, paint, oils, things like that, but we have a separate area for that.
All right, and now this is something only for Bay County residents, correct?
Only Bay County residents.
All right, again, it's taking place this Friday and Saturday, and throughout our morning show, we'll of course continue to talk about the Spring Waste Amnesty Days, so make sure you stay tuned for that. But now, for now, we're live in Panama City Beach this morning. Ethan Logue, News 13, Panhandle Strong.
All right, folks, before we let you go here on this Wednesday morning, you might notice from behind me all of that dense fog. That's going to be your biggest factor for early this morning for your early morning commute. But other than that, grab all the water, the Gatorade. Just make sure you are staying hydrated if you plan to go out and about. Overexertion is especially possible with this heat and humidity building in. I wish there was more in the way of precipitation, but most areas staying dry. Another hour and a half to go. We'll be right back.